Every Monday at exactly 9 a.m., without missing one, I transferred $700 to my parents. It was my quiet way to keep the peace, to pretend we were still a family. Then last week, they skipped my daughter's birthday. No call, no card, nothing. When I finally asked why, my father's voice was steady and cold. "Your child means nothing to us." For a breathless second, I couldn't inhale. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. Hands shaking, I opened my phone and began cutting them off, payment after payment. 40 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a message that changed everything. For 8 months straight, my Mondays started on repeat. Scrubbed coffee mugs, tired eyes, and a $700 transfer to my parents at 9 a.m. on the dot. It wasn't love, it was habit. Maybe guilt. Maybe some thin hope that if I kept giving, they'd stop seeing me as a mistake, not the daughter who disappointed them, and start seeing me as family again. After night shifts, I'd sit at the kitchen table, laptop open, Ava's drawings taped to the wall beside the bills. I'd punch in the same numbers every week, then stare at the confirmation blinking like a heartbeat. I couldn't stop. Payment sent. My mother never said thank you. My father never mentioned it. When their car broke down, I paid the mechanic. When their power bill was overdue, I covered it before they asked. It wasn't generosity. It was survival. Keeping them calm meant keeping the peace. Ava didn't understand, of course. She thought her grandparents lived far away, not 30 minutes across town. "Can they come to my dance recital?" she'd ask, spinning through the living room in a glittery skirt. I'd smile, swallow the truth, and say, "Maybe next time, sweetheart." She'd nod, believing me. Kids always do. I used to believe too. Believe that parents eventually soften, that pride fades, that love seeps back through the cracks. I even pictured them at my kitchen table again, holding Ava's little hands, telling stories about when I was her age. But every call with my mother reminded me how far gone we were. She spoke like I was an employee, not a daughter. Her voice clipped, precise. "Don't forget groceries this week. Your father's cholesterol pills are running out." Some nights, I'd hear Ava talking to her dolls, naming them Grandma, Grandpa, Mommy, making them hug, laugh, share cookies. Watching her made my chest ache. She was building the family she wished she had. So when her birthday arrived, I went all out. Streamers, balloons, lemonade in mason jars, even a cheap bouncy castle I found secondhand. She twirled in her pink dress, hair braided like Elsa, cheeks flushed with joy. "Do you think they'll come this time, Mommy?" she asked, peering through the fence as guests arrived. I hesitated, forced a smile. "Maybe, baby. Let's wait a little longer." But deep down, I already knew. By 3, the candles had melted into soft pink puddles, and the lemonade had gone warm. The yard still smelled like sugar and sunscreen, but laughter was thinning. Ava kept glancing at the front gate, fingers sticky with frosting, the hem of her dress catching the light. Every few minutes, she asked the same question, softer each time. "Mommy, do you think Nana and Grandpa are almost here?" I smiled the way mothers do when they're breaking inside. "Maybe, sweetheart. Maybe traffic's bad." There was no traffic, no call, no excuse. Only silence. I kept the party going even after the last guest left. Ava sat on the porch steps with a cupcake in her hand, sparkly shoes dangling, staring at the road like Faith might pull up and park. When the sun dipped low, she whispered, "Maybe they forgot." I knelt beside her, brushing hair from her face. "Maybe," I said, refusing to show the tightness in my throat. "But we still had fun, didn't we?" She nodded, tired now, lashes heavy with sleep. That night, after tucking her in, I scrolled through the photos, her smiling with friends, balloons bobbing behind her. Every picture felt like proof that I had tried. And then I saw it. Mom's text from that morning. "Tell Ava happy birthday from us." That was it. No call, no visit, not even a period at the end. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I called. Maybe for an explanation. maybe for a lie that sounded like love. Dad answered, sharp and annoyed, like I'd interrupted something. "What is it, Penelope?" "Why didn't you come today?" I asked. A pause, a contempt-heavy sigh. "We didn't feel like it." "Dad," I said quietly, "Ava was waiting for you. She made a card." Another pause, and then the sentence that split my world in two. "Your child means nothing to us." For a moment, I heard only the low hum of the refrigerator and my own blood pounding. My body went cold before my mind caught up. "What did you just say?" He didn't repeat it. He hung up. I sat there with the phone still pressed to my ear, staring at the blank wall. Not crying, not shouting, just frozen. Behind me, Ava's drawings fluttered on the fridge. Little crayon hearts and stick figures smiling in a world that didn't exist. My hands began to shake. I set the phone on the counter and whispered to no one, "Okay." The quiet felt heavier than grief. I walked to Ava's room. She slept, hair tangled, cheeks still pink from the day. I knelt and kissed her forehead. "You're everything," I whispered, "even if they can't see it." Back in the kitchen, I checked the clock. 9:07 p.m., the same time I usually reviewed the week's payments. Muscle memory lifted my thumb over the app before I stopped myself. Not this time. I poured the leftover lemonade down the sink, wiped the counter clean, and stood in the stillness, knowing that after tonight, something in me would change for good. I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table watching the clock slide past midnight, replaying his words on loop. "Your child means nothing to us." They didn't echo. They carved. Every syllable was a cut I couldn't stop tracing. The phone lay where I'd left it, my reflection faint in the dark screen. Messy hair, swollen eyes, a version of me I barely recognized. I reached for it, not to call, but to end something. For years I'd kept the peace by paying for it. Every Monday at 9 a.m. I turned guilt into currency. I was finished buying forgiveness that never existed. I opened my banking app. Hands trembling, I scrolled my recurring payments: rent, groceries, utilities, insurance. Each one had my name tethered to theirs. I stared at the list, then began deleting, like cutting marionette strings. Click, cancel, confirm. With each tap, my heartbeat steadied. The shaking eased. By the time I reached the last line, automatic transfer, $700 every Monday, I felt oddly calm. I deleted that too. Just like that, 8 months of habit disappeared. For a long moment, the room went silent. Fridge humming, pipes groaning, night pressed against the windows. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "Can you order us dinner? Nothing fancy, just Chinese or something. We don't have food in the house." I stared at it. 40 minutes. That's how long it took them to notice. 40 minutes after erasing my daughter with a sentence. They wanted takeout. My thumb hovered. I could have typed anything, a warning, a goodbye. I didn't. I locked the phone and slid it face down. Instead, I walked to Ava's room. She was curled up, breathing softly. Small hand clutched around the stuffed rabbit she'd named Hope. I sat on the edge of her bed, brushing a strand from her forehead. "Never again," I whispered. Not to her, to myself. That was the moment the guilt died. I realized I didn't owe them anything. Not money, not explanations, not one more ounce of peace. My silence would be enough, louder than any fight could ever be. When I finally stood, the air felt lighter. The weight on my chest lifted for the first time in years. I turned off the hallway light and watched the house sink into a clean, final kind of darkness. Some betrayals don't need a battle. They need a funeral. That night, I buried the version of me that still believed family meant love. The next morning, sunlight spilled across the kitchen table like nothing had happened. But I couldn't shake his voice. "Your child means nothing to us." It throbbed beneath every sound, even the fridge's hum. Ava was still asleep. I made coffee just to have something to hold. The phone rang, unknown number. I almost ignored it. Ms. Hayes, this is Richard, your parents' landlord. Just checking in, the rent didn't come through, which is unlike you. Unlike me. The words stung. It's not my responsibility anymore, I said. They'll need to handle it. He hesitated. They told me you managed their payments. I used to, I said, tone flat and steady, even to my own ears. Not anymore. When I hung up, something inside me shifted like a cord snapping. I wasn't their safety net now. Just a woman drinking cold coffee in her own house. At 10, my brother called. Pen! Mom says you've lost your mind. I laughed softly. Define lost. She says you're cutting them off. I am. Ryan went quiet for a beat. Good, I'm done too. I blinked. What? I've been sending them money, he admitted. Not as much as you, a few hundred a month. Groceries, gas, little stuff. I thought if we both helped, they'd change. They never told me, I whispered. They never told me about you either, he said. Guess we've been paying rent on the same guilt. I sank into a chair, clutching my mug. So they lied to both of us. Yeah. But this time, we stopped. His voice cracked. You did the right thing, Pen. Before I could answer, another notification lit my screen. A Facebook tag. A live stream replay titled, The Truth About Our Daughter. My stomach turned. Oh God. Don't watch it, Ryan said quickly. But I already was. The thumbnail showed my mother clutching a tissue like an actress mid-monologue, my father beside her, arms crossed. Mom sniffled. We've always supported Penelope through everything, but she's made up lies, telling people we're monsters who refuse to see her child. None of that is true. Dad leaned toward the camera. She's been forcing money on us for years. She needs help. I watched, numb, until the part I knew would come. My father lifted a printed photo of Ava in her pink birthday dress and spoke the same words to the world. This child does not exist to us. I froze. Ava laughing at the park, small hands clapping at candles. Images flickered like film burning out. I closed the video. Within an hour, messages flooded in. Are you seeing this? Is that your dad? Comments piled under the video. Half sympathy, half judgment. Who says that about a 6-year-old? She probably deserved it. Praying for their hearts. If this is real, it's disgusting. I turned my phone off. The house felt too quiet, like even the air refused to move. Later that afternoon, Ryan texted, Don't post anything. Let them choke on their own words. I obeyed. Silence, I was learning, could be louder than rage. By evening, the video had swept our small town. Their church friends shared it with prayer hand emojis. Others asked, What kind of grandparents say that? The tide turned without me lifting a finger. The next morning, Richard texted again. They've been told to vacate in 30 days. I'm sorry it came to this. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Justice, for once, was efficient. 2 days later, my cousin Lauren called, voice shaking with anger. They're at the family reunion, can you believe it? I frowned. They weren't invited. They showed up anyway, begging sympathy. I'm done pretending, she said. You might want to check Facebook later. Then she hung up. An hour later, I did. The video was already climbing. Grainy phone footage of a sunny backyard, picnic tables, plastic cups. My parents stood in the center, my mom pleading to a circle of relatives. No matter what Penelope told you, we love her. And that poor child, she's confused. Lauren's voice cut across the lawn, sharp and clear. Before or after you said her kid doesn't exist? The camera swung to her. She held up her phone, volume maxed. From the tiny speaker came my father's voice, unmistakable. Your child means nothing to us. Gasps. One collective inhale. My mother froze mid-sentence. My father's face drained of color. The whole yard went silent, except for a lawnmower humming in the distance. Then Uncle James stood slowly, voice calm but firm. "If that's how you treat your granddaughter, you don't belong here." No one argued. No one comforted them. They left without a word, faces pale, eyes down. The camera panned back to Lauren. Someone muttered, "Good for her." Another said, "About time." I watched the clip 3 times, set my phone down, and let out a quiet, shaking laugh from somewhere deep in my chest. Not cruel. Released. Ryan called that evening. "You saw it." "I did." "They humiliated themselves," he said. "Finally," I answered softly. "And I didn't have to do a thing." "Sometimes the truth handles itself," he murmured. That night, I sat by Ava's bed while she slept, her hand wrapped around her stuffed bunny. For the first time in months, my chest didn't ache. Rain tapped the window. I thought of every Monday morning I'd wasted, paying for love that never existed. I opened my laptop, not to send, but to check the confirmation history. 8 months of transfers, line after line stamped completed. I scrolled to the end and whispered, "Not anymore." By morning, our small-town Facebook group had brutal headlines. Church couple exposed for disowning grandchild. Someone had spliced both videos together, the live stream and the reunion. The comments were merciless. Hypocrisy at its finest. You can't erase your own blood. That poor little girl. By noon, their church deleted their photos from the website. The landlord changed the locks. Their supporters went silent. I didn't post. I didn't celebrate. I took Ava to the park. She drew stars on the sidewalk and said, "Mommy, this one's for Uncle Ryan." The air smelled like rain and chalk dust. Her laugh was so pure it hurt. When we got home, an envelope waited in the mailbox. Cream paper, my name written neatly. Inside, a short note in Aunt Virginia's handwriting. "They chose pride over love. You chose your child. That's what family is supposed to look like." I folded it and slid it into a drawer. Some victories don't need applause. That night, while I tucked Ava in, she yawned. "Mommy, can Manna and Grandpa come next year?" I hesitated. "No, baby, they won't be coming anymore." She nodded, thoughtful. "That's okay. We can invite Uncle Ryan instead." I smiled, brushing hair from her cheek. "Yes, sweetheart, that sounds perfect." When I turned off the light, the room was quiet, but not empty. It was peaceful, earned. The following week, everything felt softer, as if the world had finally exhaled. The endless pings and comments settled into a distant hum. My parents vanished from social media, profiles wiped clean. Their church issued a short statement about family healing, but everyone knew. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt free. The kind of freedom that doesn't rush, that sits beside you in the morning light and lets you breathe. At breakfast, Ava hummed while spreading jelly on toast, blissfully unaware of the storm that had finally blown past. Ryan stopped by that weekend with groceries and a grin that reached his eyes. "You look lighter," he said. "Maybe I am," I answered. We drove to Aunt Virginia's for Sunday lunch. Lemon pie cooling on the counter, sunlight through lace curtains. She hugged Ava first, then me. "Peace looks good on you, Penelope," she said. Over lunch, she talked about boundaries, that love without respect isn't love at all. I listened, really listened, and for the first time, I believed it. Later, while Ava colored, Aunt Virginia slipped an envelope into my hand. "For when you forget why you stopped." Inside was a single line. "Kindness with boundaries is strength." That night, I watched Ava sleep and realized the silence in our home no longer felt like punishment. It felt like protection. I stood in her doorway, watching her chest rise and fall in the glow of the nightlight. For the first time in years, I didn't dread tomorrow. I didn't owe anyone peace but us. My parents had chosen pride. I chose freedom. And that choice, quiet, steady, final, was the loudest revenge I could ever give. If you've ever had to walk away to protect your peace, you're not alone.